Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I'm going to be going over the worst books that I read for 2023. Okay, so real quickly, just explaining here, I am going to be going over the books that I gave less than 3 stars to. So I'm not going to go over any 3 stars and up, obviously. These are going to be my 2.5, 2 stars. I don't usually give like 1-star reviews because that I should probably just DNF by that point. So I don't really think I've ever given a 1-star review. So usually if I read a book and I hate it, it's like a 2, 2.5. And then I'll also go over my DNF, which I only had 1 DNF this year, which I kind of tried to push through and I couldn't do it. I suffered and I did not get through the book. So I will go over that briefly. I do have a whole video on trying to reread a DNF, and that's what I did again. So this was a previous DNF. I tried to reread it and it did not work. So let's go over the book, my worst books of the year. I am a little late filming these videos, so I do apologize. But this is my first year on BookTube. I had a lot of end of the year content I want to do, but I have had a lot of dental stuff going on. So a lot of swelling and I have more dental work to get done. So I may be late getting like all my 6-star reads for the year and all of that up. So please be patient with me. I do apologize on that. So first off, I'm just going to go over my DNF. So my one DNF this year was Haunting Adeline. If you're a fan of this channel or you've seen my videos before, you probably guessed that. I have that whole video. I can link it down below where I actually tried to give a couple DNFs another shot. And I tried so hard to read Haunting Adeline and I can't do it. I don't get it. I'm frustrated by the hype. I think it's one of the worst books I've ever read. And I'm sorry, I know it's so loved by so many people. I mean, everywhere I go on TikTok, everywhere I go on Instagram, it's always, oh, Zaid. And, you know, Haunting Adeline is on everybody's top list. I don't get it. Like, I'm never going to get it. And it's not because it's a stalker and crazy over-the-top romance. I've read a lot of those and I love them. It's the writing. It's a cringe factor. The writing, her monologuing, the way she talks in her head, this heroine fucking drove me crazy. And it was just so ridiculous, the whole storyline. So I made it to, I think, like 60%. And that was me like pushing and struggling. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I fucking hate this. So I gave up and I DNF'd it. And so for me, if I only have 1 DNF in the year, that should tell you that like I really hated that book. So again, I'm so sorry. If you happen to love any of these books, this isn't about you or your taste. It's me not connecting to the story, not enjoying the writing, being angry about certain things that I've been ranting about on certain things that piss me off in books. So it has nothing to do with you and your taste. That's what reading is. It's subjective. So we're all going to have different tastes. So I'm not saying you're horrible or anything for liking Haunting Adeline. I just don't get it because it is literally everywhere. So it just didn't work for me. So please don't hate me or come after me because I hate Haunting Adeline. Okay, so let's go over my 2.5 stars. I read Vibe, I believe by Liza James, and it was a sapphic romance, but it was like a dark romance. A girl escapes a cult and she's like has a boyfriend, I think, and she like falls in love with this stripper, and it was just over the top. There were so many triggers in this and like so much damage characters, like the amount of shit that happened to both these women, it was just over the top. It felt like it was just trying to be dark too hard, and the amount of trauma that each of these persons had seemed unrealistic, that you would both have all that amount of damage. And the sex was kind of like almost a humiliating kind of thing and talking down to her and calling her a whore. And I just don't like that. I don't like degradation. I like praise. So I gave this 2.5 stars. I didn't like it. And I stand by that. I know a lot of people love this book. They've given it 5 stars, but I fucking hated it. The other one I have is The Aris Hunt by Joanna Shoup. And I feel really bad about this because it's the first book in that series. It is the Fifth Avenue Rebels. And I did a vlog. I'll try to remember to link it down below. But I did a vlog reading Joanna Shoup for the first time because I had never read her and I'd heard so much about her and there's so much love for her. And so I'm actually really glad I did that vlog because I did not like the first book. And mostly because I hated the heroine. Otherwise, like, I don't think I would have continued with the series if I wasn't doing the vlog because every other book in that series was phenomenal. I loved them. One of them, the last one, was a 6-star read. Another one, if I did a reread, I think I'd give it 6 stars now because it's one of my favorite historical romances. So I am so happy I continued. It just shows, like, you don't give up on an author just from one. So even though I think I gave up on H.D. Carlton, so I guess I shouldn't say that. But I just did not like the heroine. I didn't think she was likable. The way she treated the hero in that book really pissed me off. You can get a lot more detailed thoughts in my vlog, but it just didn't work for me. You know, I don't know. Okay, so I was looking back at my Goodreads review of this just to get a little bit more info because I kind of forgot all the things that she did to annoy me, but this is kind of what I said on it. It was because Maddie's throwing a weekend party where all these books kind of start at this weekend party to try and find an heiress for him when really he's been in love with her and pining after her for years and he only wants her, but he's doing this to get closer to her. She's also like going to be engaged to this Duke who I end up fucking loving. But he so the thing with her, like people were upset with him because he did a lot of underhanded things to kind of get his way. I didn't mind that so much because I like the alpha holes and guys that are over the top and whatever. But this is what I wrote about her. I said, I know a lot of people didn't like Harrison, but I could not stand Maddie more. He did some underhanded things and kept things from her, but Maddie was really unlikable. Harrison was pining for her for years, and she just viewed him as her brother. This poor guy was completely friend-zoned. She came off as very cold and distant. I could not buy into their connection. She was a complete bitch. She kept pushing him away and acted so meh towards him. Once we got to the 50% mark, I was checked out. Yeah, I didn't like her, and you'll see that in my vlog. I kind of ran about her a lot, so that's why I ended up giving that book 2.5 stars. The other one was just a novella, and it was The Demon's Bargain by Katie Robert. I don't know if Katie Robert works for me or not. I think I might give her one more shot in like that Greek mythology one she does, because I don't know, she just writes smut on every single page. And again, this is a novella, so it's kind of expected, but I just didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about the story. I just was reading to get through it, and it was just, I hated it. So, I mean, it wasn't even good novella. I was done with it. And then the last 2.5 stars I had was The Lawyer by Marnie Mann. I have never read Marnie Mann. This is my first time, so I will give her another chance. But again, this is along my complaints of the writing smut to get the TikTok views and writing a book that it's all smut. It's this woman, she is actually her sister's like kind of like personal assistant. Her sister's in a reality show. She's a celebrity, and she kind of basically is her personal assistant. She has a one-night stand kind of like at this bar with this lawyer. She didn't know he was a lawyer, but he ends up being the lawyer for her sister. he sees her and is like so obsessed with her. And I mean, the amount of times this guy, like, it's so surface level and it's so kind of degrading and objectifying, which, I mean, I'm reading romance, but still, like, every time he described her, it was about how amazing her ass was or her tits were or this or that. It was just so physical, just all about lust. There was no connection. And so I was just very irritated by it. And then he ends up thinking she should have her own show. And so he puts her forward towards this other, reality shows thing. And her sister basically got, it's because she's becoming a bigger star. And basically it's just sex, and no connection. And I just didn't like it. I listened to an audiobook and I still was just like, every time he talked about her body and this and that, and the sex scenes were so over the top, I was just like, oh my God, this is what I'm having issues with, is the constant smut for smut's sake. And I'm over it. Like, I want a story. I want a plot. I want to see them fall for each other, not just have them physically be banging it out every chapter. So those are my 2.5 stars. So the rest are going to be my 2-star reads. Okay, sorry about this awkward edit, but my phone ran out of space and just shut off in the middle of filming. So we may have a different lighting situation because it's later at night now. This has been a mess, you guys. So I do apologize for that. But let's go on to my 2-star reads. So I'm going to kind of bring up 2 together, because actually 3 together, which is sad because they're all from the same author. And I really loved Cora Riley's Mafia series. I loved the Camorra Chronicles, but the last 2 books in the Camorra Chronicles were horrible. And honestly, one of them wasn't as bad as the other one, but I had already given it 2 stars. I'm honestly debating going back to Goodreads and giving it a 1 star. And that is Twisted Hearts. This is Savio and Gemma's romance. I think her name was Gemma. Don't care. This book probably would have been a DNF if I wasn't reading it for the Mafia Romance Readathon. I hated Savio. I've never hated a hero as much as I hate him. The Camorra Chronicles was so amazing. They should have just stopped at Nino Falcone's second book, because Nino Falcone is one of my top book boyfriends. I love him more than anything. Like, I love him, and they should have ended on that high note. But instead, we got Savio for the next book, and he is a complete man whore. He screws other women and flaunts it in front of the heroine's face for about 80% of this book. I mean, she has had a crush on him. She's one of his best friend's little sisters. Her family's very traditional. They want her to get married before sex, and she believes in that. And she just has big stars in her eyes for Savio and thinks he's everything and wants to be with him. And he just kind of like toys with her, knows she's obsessed with him, manipulates her, uses that, and he has no interest in marrying her. And he doesn't want to, until the day that she's finally going to be marrying somebody else, and he doesn't want that person to get her. He wants to be able to pop her cherry or whatever. And so then he decides he's going to marry her, but he wants the engagement to go on a long while so he can fuck around. He is disgusting. And the heroine is no better because she's so pathetic. I've never read a more pathetic heroine who just takes the shit over and over. And then once they get married, then she's making her stand. It's like, literally, you let this guy shit on you for years. Don't have sympathy for you. So I hated it. So honestly, it should be a 1 star. And I'm debating going back and changing it. Adamo's romance was next. And that was Twisted Cravings. And I was very excited for Adamo's romance because a lot of stuff went on with him throughout the series. He was tortured. He was sent to go to New York with Luca Vitiello and to, train and become a man and learn. And I thought we were going to get so much from that time. We didn't get anything. It was literally mostly a book about the heroine and how she was like abused as a child and like has sex trafficking stuff into it. And It's just, it was a sad stuff, but I didn't care because I wanted a book about Adamo. And the only good parts of the book is when we got, to see his brothers, basically. So I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. I just was completely bored, and I was so let down in the series. But I mean, it was better than Savio's book, so I need to change that. And then the last one is Bound by Blood Anthology. It's just it's supposed to be a novella, but it was honestly felt like the longest novella I've ever read. So I think it's might be a full-size book because it's a bunch of short stories from the characters in the Bound by Blood series. And then a longer story with Gianna and Matteo. I think that's her name. Yeah. And I didn't like it at all because they were very set being a married couple. They don't want kids. And then all of a sudden she's pregnant and she's going to give the baby to Luca and her sister. But then is she? And I freaking hated it. So I thought that was kind of a waste, and we didn't need to do that and revisit the characters at all. So I didn't really enjoy it. Then I have Crowned by Fate by Amo Jones. This is the second part of a duet. I had first DNF'd the first book, and this was one of the other book in that Haunting Adeline blog where I gave it a second chance, and I ended up enjoying it. I gave it 4 stars, but this one was so stupid. I think it was a long time in between books till she finished this because honestly, the characters, the whole book feels like a completely different type of book, type of different characters. I didn't like it. Amo Jones is famous for doing all these crazy bonkers twists and plot twists and crazy stuff you don't see coming, but I honestly thought it was just dumb, and it changed the characters and what I liked about them. So I didn't really enjoy it, and 2 stars. Then we have The Duke and I, the first Bridgerton book. I actually did a vlog for this, which is funny because a lot of these negative reviews are from vlogs I've done. But so I did not like this. I liked the first 60%. I thought it was a 4-star read. And then I hated the heroine and her actions. I think she was so manipulative and underhanded because she wanted a baby and her husband did not want children. And no matter his reasons being kind of dumb or whatever, you need to work it out as a couple, not trick him into having sex with you when he's drunk so that you could have him go inside you and you could get pregnant. That is so underhanded and goes against what his wants and what his beliefs are at that time. And I mean, if a man had done that in a book, we'd be losing our minds over how fucked up that is. But it's not okay if a heroine does it either. It's pretty much SA to me. She did that against his wishes, and it made me hate this heroine. So that took a book that was 4 stars down to 2 stars, and I was pissed. Then we have Priest. I also did a vlog for this one, and I did not like this one. This is another one of just constant smut. And trying to write the most taboo kind of sex scenes, but really have no character development, you don't even show us how they fall in love. They're basically just screwing every other chapter. And the heroine kind of came off, no slut shaming, but she kind of came off like a slut. And that's all she cared about was sex. And then her actions in the 3rd act really pissed me off. And I didn't even want them to be together at the end. So I was pretty angry at that book. You can always check out these vlogs if you want to really see me rant about these. Then I have basically 4 novellas. So novellas are kind of hard for me. I usually rate really good ones 4 stars. If it's 5 stars, I freaking loved it. But all of these I gave 2 stars to. 4 Psychos by Christy Cunning. I just don't get it. It was she was a ghost and it was a reverse harem, but this is the opposite of the smut complaint from before. There was no smut in this. And that's kind of what you expect. And she was a ghost, but they could see her, and she but then when she finally would turn in a physical form, they wouldn't have sex with her because they didn't trust her. And I'm what? And it just seems so pointless. All these quest things and their whole mission. I don't know. I didn't care. Then I have A Witch's Pumpkin Spice Love, and this was pretty cute to start with, but I didn't like the hero because we have a witch and she actually realizes the guy that she has a crush on is her familiar. And so she kind of tries to wear him down. She wants a relationship with him. It's a very grumpy sunshine. But like after they have sex, the way he treats her and the way he talks to her, I was like, no, you freaking didn't. Hate you. So that really brought down the novella to me because he was just a complete ass. Then we have Craving the Alien Vampire, and this was okay. I mean, I never read this author before, and it was just basically like she gets sold in like an auction. He was not going to buy her, but realizes he wants her. They're kind of like fated mates. They bang it out. That's it. Like, that's really the storyline. So, and then my last one is Katie Robert again with My Dad's Best Friend and her Touch of Taboo series. I get it. It's a novella. It's supposed to be smut. But I think that like Katie Roberts, that's all she does. And she does it in every book now. And I'm getting bored. I'm bored by the sex scenes. I don't care half the time. So, but she, like, honestly, I just don't know if she's the author for me anymore. And I've really only enjoyed a couple of her books. And to my point is that you can write a novella that actually has good character development and actual plot, like good stuff developing so that when they do get together, you care about it. Claire Kent does it in all her novellas. I love them all. And there's a full, well-rounded story there. It's not just smut. Every single chapter, sex, sex, sex. So that's kind of my biggest complaint on that. So those are going to be my worst books of the year. Honestly, not bad for 2023. I have so many 6 stars to go over. I'm going to be filming that, all my 6 stars for you guys. It's just hard to find the time with all this dental issues, but that will be coming soon. So please be patient for me. I have a lot of them. So I had a really great year. These were just some of my downs. Again, if I went after a book that you love or an author you love, I'm sorry. It's not against you at all. We all have different opinions. So please don't come after me. But you can leave me a comment down below about what your worst book was if you agreed with me on any of these. I always appreciate your comments. And please do like and subscribe. I will hopefully have my 6-star videos coming soon and other end of the year content. As always, thank you so much for watching, and it's been a great year on BookTube, and I can't wait for 2024. I will see you on the next one.